Guys, we are back. Now we are through with, we studied the very wonderful concept of members deemed to be in practice. Section 2, subsection 2, and the last thing which we studied was wonderful, and that was management consultancy services. It's very important because it brings deeming fiction and it defines what practicing chartered accountants can do and what they cannot do. Now, next is not very important, guys. Just quickly take an overview. See, we are going in a sequence. Now, section 3. Section 3 is a happy birthday section. And section 3 says that an entity will be created, and that will be Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. So ICAI is created as per requirement of section 3. And its members will be called as chartered accountants. There's a happy birthday section. CA Institute is created in that particular section. Not very important from exam point of view. It's very simple to understand whether any section is important or not. If you find that there is a question number given to it, then it's important. See, there's a question number given to it, that's important. MCQ number given to it, that's important. And apart from that, even if there's no question, if I think that's important, I will tell it to you. Now we have section 4. Section 4 tells us who can become member of CA Institute. Who can become member of CA Institute? Now guys, who can become member? It's very simple, straightforward. Who can become member of CA Institute? Okay. Now, person who has passed examinations prescribed by ICAI and completed his training articleship. He can become member. Then there's one more route. There's one more way of becoming chartered accountant. Person who has passed examination and done the training without India. As I said, guys, this is a very old English. This is a very old law. 1949. It's a very old law. Lot of old English words are used here. Without India means outside India. Without India simply means outside India. Okay. Well, so it is. We are going to study about it later. More about it later. But a very simple thing. So there was a concept earlier. If you become a chartered accountant in some specified countries, you can automatically become eligible to enroll as a member in India. Yes, there was concept of direct membership. Many years back. There was a concept. Now it is not right now. It is not there right now. So in past, many years back, they provided the list. If you become member of these institute, automatically you can become member of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Now the concept is MOU or MRA, Mutual Memorandum of Understanding, or MRA, Mutual Recognition Agreement. Under this agreement, person from foreign institutes, so first go and take qualification of foreign institute, then come to India, appear for 4 papers, and you can become chartered accountant in India also. So yes, there is one more way of becoming chartered accountant. First become member of the foreign professional institute, and then come to India, appear for 4 paper, become member here also. Okay, so there are two ways of becoming member. One is the direct way, which you are using, which I use, which everyone uses. There is one indirect way also. But for this, you'll have to study those MRA, mutual recognition agreement, carefully. If that MRA is only for non-residents, it's only for non-residents, correct? Then you need to first become non-resident, then become member of the foreign institute, then come to India, appear for the 4 papers, and then become CA here. Okay. So you have to do research in that. I'll be happy if someone does research, and but they will have to read all the MRAs. Correct. Now then, membership fee, it should not exceed 3,000. Fine. It should not exceed 3,000. If they take permission from government, it can go up to 6,000. That's not very important. Then we have section number 5. As soon as any person clears his exams, done his articleship, applies for membership, as soon as any person becomes chartered accountant, he will be called as associate member of the institute. Associate member of the institute. Associate means he is like a junior member of ICAI. Junior member of ICAI. Then once he completes 5 years, in practice, he completes 5 years in practice, he can apply to become a senior member, that is fellow member. He can apply to become FCA. You do not become FCA automatically. No, you have to apply for it. And the fees can be 5,000, should not exceed 5,000. And with permission, maximum fees can go up to 10,000. Again, that's not very important. The interesting thing is, junior members are called associate members, and senior members are called FCs, fellow members. Correct? So this is done so that people can understand whether he is a senior member or not. Senior members are given more respect, they have more knowledge, experience, they are given more work also. Now, who can apply for senior membership? Who can apply for senior membership? So it's very simple. Who can apply for it? A person who is in continuous practice in India. A person who has done continuous practice in India for at least 5 years. It's very simple. So person who has done practice in India for 5 years, he can apply for, he can apply to become senior member, he can apply to become FCA. Okay. Apart from that, now, a chartered accountant who is just an associate, not in practice. So this is basically for chartered accountant who are in employment. Yes. Those who are in practice, continuous practice in India for 5 years or more, they can apply for it. Now, chartered accountants who are not in practice, correct? Those who are into employment, they can also apply for it. Again, they should have experience of 5 years. They should be associate members for 5 years or more, and they will need qualification and experience as prescribed by council from time to time to ensure that their experience is similar to chartered accountants who are in practice. It's very simple. Those who are continuously in practice in India for 5 years, they can apply for it. Foreign practice will not be counted. Foreign practice, if you are practicing outside India, that will not be counted. That will not be counted. Okay. And those associate members who are not in practice, but they are continuously associate members for 5 years or more, plus they are having qualification and experience as required by ICI to prove that their experience and knowledge is equivalent to person who is in practice for 5 years, even then they can apply. So the point is, practicing chartered accountants can also apply to become FCA, and those who are not in practice, they can also apply for FCA. But those who are not in practice, they will have to fulfill additional requirements to show that they have good experience. To implement above, in December 2014, so those who are FCA, they can write FCA after their name to show that they are a fellow chartered, after their name FCA to know that they are fellow chartered accountants. In December 2014, ICI clarified. ICI said that okay, those CAs who are working in government, those chartered accountants who are doing job in government or commercial entity or governments, statutory authorities, local bodies or commercial entities in the field of our subjects, accounts, costing, tax law, information technology, etc., for 5 years or more, they can apply for FCA. Plus, even if you are not, now this is the case, plus if you are doing job of 5 years or more under CA or CA firm, you can apply for FCA. We will not even see the areas in which you are working, because it is understood CA firms work in this area. So if you are working in other organization, we will see the area in which you are working. Is it accounts, costing, tax, law, information technology? Then fine. In case of CA firm, we will not see the area also. It's absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine in whichever area you work in CA firm. It is understood that you are having sufficient experience. Now, information in green is generally my comments. Therefore, only knowledge. Even if there is a break of 1 year, it can be condoned. Condoned means institute will accept it. No problem. Institute will still consider that it is continuous. Even if there is a break of 1 year in between, it can be condoned. Institute will accept it. Experience can be partly in practice and partly in job as specified above. No problem. Even that is allowed. That's wonderful. That's beautiful. So that was section 5. I think that's a medium importance, not extremely important, not less important. Now we have section 6. See, so many questions are there. See section 6, so many questions. 655.100, 655.200, 655.300. There are 3 questions asked. That becomes very extremely important. Extremely important. What it says? Section 6 says that if any chartered accountant wants to do practice, he will have to first take COP, then only he can go for practice. So that means people who are doing accounting work, audit work, tax costing finance work or MCS work without practice, they are not complying with Section 6. They are contravening Section 6. There's a non compliance of Section 6. They will be punished for this. Plus, deeming fiction will be applied on them. They will be deemed to be in practice. And full professional ethics will get applicable to them. So there will be non-compliance of Section 6. They are punished. They will be punished for that. Plus, deeming fiction will be applied on them, so that all the provisions, of CA Act of professional ethics will get applicable to them. Okay. Now, Code of Ethics of the Institute is applicable to all members, even outside India. Even outside India. So even if he has to practice outside India, he should take COP from ICAI. Yes. But sir, if he is practicing US, he will need certificate of practice from the US institute. Yes, I fully agree with that. So if he wants to do practice outside India, he will need COP from ICAI also, and he will need COP from the US institute also. But sir, in this case, there may be conflicts. US institute may say that you need only one COP. Then what? Yes, conflicts can arise. As per this section and as per Code of Ethics, which we follow, you practice in India, you need COP. You practice outside India, you need COP. But then, when you talk about outside India, foreign laws are applicable outside India. Sometimes there can be conflict between the Indian law and the foreign law. Then what to do in this case? Legal advice need to be taken. You can take legal advice from the CA. You can ask CA Institute what to do. They will clarify. His duties outside India will be governed by law concerning country. If there is a conflict, he should get clarity from ICAI. If there is any conflict, get clarity from ICAI what to be done. Clarify, ICAI will tell what needs to be done. And as I said, it's a very old law. ICAI clarification are much more important than the section and the rules and regulations, because it is an old law. It needs to be changed. It needs to be revived. Correct. But they have not done it. Now we have a very, very interesting case study. It has been asked. Now all these questions, 655.100, 200, 300, they are based on this case study. It's very simple. It's very, very simple, very interesting. Okay, let me take someone as example. Whom should I take example? Okay, I will take. If you want me to take you as an example, you can put it on the chat. Okay, there's so many people. Take my example. Now, okay, let's take Shubham as example. Shubham as example. So we have Shubham. Shubham is a advocate. So Shubham completed completed his uh, LLB. He became advocate, and he was as a after becoming advocate, he is doing tax practice. He is doing tax practice, and he was extremely happy. So he had, yeah, there are many advocates. Advocates understand the law well. They understand the income tax law and they practice in income tax law. So he became advocate and he became income tax practitioner. So Shubham is an income tax practitioner. Now, after doing all this, someone suggested him, see, you can give more services to the client. You can give more services to the client if you become chartered accountant. If you become chartered accountant, you can give more services. So Shubham works hard and now he clears CA exams. He clears CA exams. He takes COP from ICAI and now he is giving services. Now he is giving services as a chartered accountant. That's very interesting. He is giving services as chartered accountant. Everything was going good. Okay. Now he is doing income tax practice and other things as a chartered accountant. He is getting more recognition from the market. There are more clients and so on. But what happened? He gets involved in misconduct. While doing practice, he does misconduct means activities which are considered unethical, incorrect, inappropriate, misconduct. While doing practice, he is involved in misconduct. And earlier, not now, earlier cases, the cases of misconduct used to go to High Court. Used to go to High Court. Now he goes to High Court and his COP is suspended for 6 months. Now cases don't go to High Court, they go to, we are going to see, they go to various authorities within the CA Institute. Various authorities within the CA Institute, they go to them. And his COP is suspended for 6 months. COP is suspended for 6 months. Now that's very interesting. You must have heard these news nowadays. COP suspended for 3 months, 7 days, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. These news are very common nowadays. That certificate of practice. So that means he cannot do practice. But Shubham is very intelligent. Shubham is extremely intelligent. Shubham writes a letter to the CA Institute. That dear CA Institute, before becoming chartered accountant, I was an advocate. Before becoming chartered accountant, I was an advocate. I used to practice as an advocate. So let me do practice as an advocate. I will practice as an advocate. I will put name board of advocate, visiting card of advocate, letterhead of advocate. Everywhere I will put my name as an advocate and let me do practice as advocate. So very interesting thing. Let me do practice as advocate. So now this matter was in front of the CA Institute. What to do? Should we allow him to do practice as an advocate? Now if we allow him, if we allow him to do practice as an advocate, that means That means suspension of the COP is not having any impact. We are suspending COP, that is not having any impact. He will not be facing any punishment. People will use other professional capacities to do the work. Someone will say that I want to do tax consultancy as an advocate, company law consultancy as a company secretary, cost consultancy as a CWA, and so on. CA Institute said that once you become member of CA Institute, once you become member of CA Institute, once you become a chartered accountant, you are bound by rules and regulation of the CA Institute. You are bound by rules and regulation of the CA Institute. And you can do CA related work. Now, what do you mean by CA related work? We have seen list of activities in member deemed to be in practice: accounting, auditing, tax, costing, finance, and management consultancy. You can do all this work. You can do all this work only in capacity of a chartered accountant after taking COP. Only in capacity of as a chartered accountant after taking COP. That means you cannot do this work in the name of advocacy, in capacity of an advocate or any other capacity. That's very interesting. Once you become a chartered accountant, you become member of ICAI. You become member of ICAI. You are governed by rules. You are governed by rules and regulations of ICAI. Now you can do CA related work, CA related activities only after taking COP. Only after taking COP from ICAI. You cannot do this work in other professional capacities. You cannot use other professional capacities to do CA work. No, not allowed. So he cannot do practice. Now, similar case, so this case has been asked many times. Now, similar case was asked by CA. CA Institute has asked this case also. And they have drafted similar case for GST practice. That a person wants to do GST practice even without COP, because you don't need any special permission to give GST advisory or to file GST returns. So person said that let me do GST practice without COP. Now listen guys, again the answer is no. You can do CA related work of accounts, audit, tax only in one capacity, and that is professional capacity of a chartered accountant. You cannot use other professional capacities. That's simple. But ICAI gave wrong answer in suggested answers. ICAI gave wrong answer in suggested answers. As soon as we saw that, we sent a mail to them, Board of Studies, that listen, this answer is inappropriate. This is not done. This is not acceptable. How can we change? How can we change this very important interpretation? How can we change it? How can that be changed? And CA Institute accepted it, and they changed the suggested answer. They changed the suggested answer. In our question bank, we have explained the complete case, how it happened. So keep in mind, as on today, correct, you cannot use other professional capacities. Even if there is a temporary removal from membership, you cannot you are even if they're temporary removal from membership, still you are governed. Still you are governed by CA Act, its rules and regulations. You cannot do practice. If there is a permanent removal, if you are permanently removed from the membership, that means you are no longer a chartered accountant, then CA Act is not applicable to you. Then CA Act is not applicable to you. You can do whatever you want because you are no longer a chartered accountant. So if there is COP suspension, CA Act is applicable. You cannot do practice. If there is a temporary removal from membership, CA Act is applicable. You cannot do practice. Permanent removal, do whatever you want to do. Absolutely fine. So it is a text of the same thing. We cannot use other capacities. We have seen this. If you got any questions, you can post it. If you got any questions, you can post it. There is some common services between CS, CA. So there is misconduct, then in which law person is punishable. See, we don't know what company secretary, personally speaking, I don't know what professional ethics of company secretary says. They need not be same. Professional ethics and CS, professional ethics and CS Act may not be same, and I am not expert of what CS says or what CWS says or what Bar Council says. I am not expert of that, okay, but we are expert of CA Act. If you want to do CA related work, you need COP. Simple, very simple, okay. If there is a conflict, if there is any conflict, ask CA Institute, put a mail to them and ask them, take the advice from them how to resolve the conflict. Correct? Not at all important from exam point of view. Okay, I hope you are clear about this. Now, very simple case, very interesting one. So we take Darsh in the example. Darsh is a chartered accountant. He is working as an employee. He is working as an employee for a company, big company. He is computing tax for the company, is making returns, filing returns. He is also representing the company in income tax department. He is doing a lot of tax related work. Will he need COP? Will Darsh need COP? He is doing a lot of tax related work for his company as an employee. Will he need COP? No. Correct. Of course, no. You're not going to need COP. Correct. I'm getting answers, a lot of answers. Guys, be active. You can give a lot of answers that will, keep answering these small questions that will keep you active also and keep you involved also. Answer is definitely no, because you are working as an employee. When you are working as an employee, you are working in employee capacity. You don't need COP. But if Darsh, same Darsh, after office hours, he makes and files returns for his colleagues, for his friends, for his family. He makes the returns, he makes returns, he files the returns, he get refund for the people, he gives financial advisory. Now he is not working for company, he is working for outsiders, others. Will he need COP? Will he need COP? Correct. Yes, he will need COP. He will need COP. If you're doing practice, you're helping, you're making that, definitely you're doing it for money remuneration. We're assuming that he will definitely need COP. You're working for company as an employee, working as as an employee, you will not need COP. You're working for others, staff members, everyone else you're working, giving them services, you will need COP. What is the concept of dual COP? Can a person have two COPs? COP of CA Institute and COP of Bar Council of India. Now listen, dual COP is generally not allowed. Person generally cannot have dual COP. He cannot have COP of CA Institute and CS Institute, CA Institute and CW Institute. You can only have one COP. Generally speaking, you can only and only have one COP. Then sir, why people do CA, CS and CWA everything? Just to have more options in life. It proves their caliber. Why people take more degrees? Why people do CA, CS? It proves their caliber. So some people may say that it proves their caliber. It proves their caliber, their knowledge. So some people take these extra degrees to show their knowledge. Correct? And then it gives more option to them. If anytime they want to switch from CA to CS, CS to CWA or vice versa, generally people don't shift. People are happy with chartered accountancy. They don't shift to CS or CWA. They have more options with them. It's for knowledge purpose, it's for status purpose, and it's for options also. Now listen, CA Institute has allowed dual COP with Bar Council of India. CA Institute says that, okay, listen, you can take COP from us, ICI, you can take COP from Bar Council also. See, basically what happens in tax, after one level, dispute goes to the court. And in court, only advocates can fight the case. So CA Institute said that, okay, you become an advocate also. So in your CA office, you work as a chartered accountant. And when case goes to court, you work as advocate. So have both the benefits. Just for the benefit of members, CA Institute said that, okay, dual COP is allowed. You can take our COP and Bar Council of India COP also. They allowed it. But keep one thing in mind, two designations should not come together. When you are working as a chartered accountant in your office, on letterhead everywhere you should put chartered accountant. When you are working as a lawyer, advocate, on your letterhead, visiting card, everywhere you should put your designation as advocate. Don't put both the designation together. Keep it separate. So that people should not be confused. And people should not be confused. And people should not make opinion about you. Okay, you are not a pure lawyer. You are a CA lawyer. So only put advocate. So don't use it together. Don't use it together. Keep them separate. But practically problem is, Bar Council of India has not allowed this dual COP. See, if dual COP has to be successful, permission need to be given by the ICI also and other institute also. Then only dual COP will become successful. But the other institute has not allowed it. So as on today, the concept of dual COP, even though permissions are given, it is not practical. You cannot practically implement it. Okay. I hope you are aware about it. I hope you got the point. Guys, if you got any doubt, you can ask me. If you want, you can raise your hand also. You can raise your hand and you can ask a oral doubt also to me. Summarize. What to summarize? Please let me know. What to summarize? Whole lecture? Last point. We have studied the last point. It's very simple, straightforward. You need COP to do practice. You can use only professional capacity of chartered accountant. You cannot use other professional capacities. When you work as an employee, you don't need COP. When you work for others, you need COP. And the last point, dual COP is generally not allowed. It is allowed with advocates. It is allowed with advocates. Okay. But then, uh, Bar Council of India has not allowed it. So it's not practical. So it is not practical. And even if it get allowed, and even it get allowed, don't use both the designation together. I hope that is clear. Once a person surrenders COP of CA, can he regain it? Of course. Chartered accountant can surrender COP anytime he wants, and he can again get the COP anytime he wants. Yes, you can do that. No problem at all. No problem at all. You can writing CA, CMA and CS is a different thing. Taking COP is a different thing. Listen, taking COP is a different thing altogether, and writing designation as COP is different. I hope this point is clear to you. These two are two different things. And we are going to study about this. Writing that I am a CA, CS, CWA is a different thing. We are going to study about this right now. The next topic we are going to study about this. Section 7 about the prefix and what you can write. Is there any limit on how many times can CA surrender COP? There is no limit about it. There is no limit about it. You can surrender COP any number of times you want, and you can take it from institute any number of time you want. But don't make it painful for them. Don't make it bad for them. Don't make it painful for them. Okay. Now, let's go ahead. Let's see the interesting part. Let's see the interesting part. Okay. First, we see cancellation and restoration. Cancellation and restoration of COP. Can it get cancelled? Is it possible that? Can it get cancelled? Let's see. So we have regulation 10 which says that yes, it can get cancelled. So regulation 10 of ICAI regulation says that it can get cancelled. Okay. Now, What are the reasons when it can get cancelled? So we have arranged it again beautifully. We have arranged it in a sequence. We have arranged it in a sequence. Okay. Now, let's understand. So COP can be cancelled if, most important thing, name of the person is removed from the register of members. If you are no longer a chartered accountant, if you are no longer a chartered accountant, okay, then how can you continue to have COP? The biggest thing, if any chartered accountant has lost his membership because of any reason, his COP will get cancelled. Then next thing, if COP was obtained by giving incorrect information, factually incorrect information, misleading, false information, that is again bad. Cancellation of membership is extremely bad. Giving wrong information is also bad only. Again, COP will get cancelled. Then every chartered accountant has to pay annual fees for COP by 30th of September. Every year he has to pay by 30th of September. If you're not paying it, again COP will be cancelled. Once COP is cancelled, you cannot put signatures, you cannot train articles. And if he cease to do practice, if he surrenders his COP, again, so this is in a sequence. Worst thing is removal of membership. Then the next thing is lesser than that, wrong information. Less than that, not paid the annual thing. And then cease to practice, surrender. See, what about restoration? Now you can restore, you can make an application. You can make an application to the CA Institute under Regulation 11. Under Regulation 11, you can make the application. You can explain that all the reasons for cancellation of COP are now removed. We have removed all the negative reasons. We have removed all the negative reasons. There is no reason to cancel the COP. Please restore it. If you prove that you got their membership back, if you prove that you got their membership back, if you prove that you didn't submit wrong information, if you pay the annual fees, you again ask for COP, COP can be restored. So you put an application, explain that negative reasons are now over, the reasons for cancellation are no longer exist, they have been managed, they have been managed, you can get back your COP. You will get the COP from the date you apply for it. Okay, if you apply after 2 years, you will get COP from 2 years. You apply for 3 years, you will get COP from 3 years, and so on. This is a very interesting thing. See, very interesting, and I find it's extremely important from exam point of view. So we have, say, April 21, we have financial year 21-22. It is till 31st of March 22. So all the chartered accountants have to pay their membership fee in COP fees for the financial year 21-22 by 30th of September 2021. So you have to pay for the year within first 6 months. You can say that you have to pay for the financial year within 6 months. That's fine, that's reasonable. CA Institute is giving you 6 months. Pay it. If you don't pay it, then say CA Institute has the option when to cancel it. When to cancel it. They have right to, you have not paid it, now they have right to cancel it. Suppose they cancelled it on 31st of October. They cancelled it on 31st of October 2021. Now there is a golden opportunity. Chartered accountant, there is a golden opportunity. Chartered accountant can pay the fees, by 31st of March 2022, before the financial year comes to an end. And his COP will be restored. His COP will be restored from the date it got cancelled. So it will be restored from 31st of October. Because of this, there will not be any gap. There will not be any gap. You will be, the person will be in continuous practice. There will not be any gap in it. That's a wonderful thing. So if the cancellation is happening, has happened because of non-payment of the COP fees, then in that case, you can pay the COP fees before financial year comes to an end and restore your COP from the date of cancellation, so that there is no time gap in between. Okay. So we are through with, now we are studying a very, very interesting concept. Extremely important concept. Very interesting and very, very important concept. And that is section 7. See, we are studying in a sequence. We have seen background of professional ethics. We saw section 1 applicability, section 2 definition, members deemed to practice, section 3 happy birthday, section 4 who can become member. So there is one simple Indian route and there is one foreign route also. Section 5 about associate chartered accountants and fellow chartered accountants, that is junior and seniors. Then we have section 7. Section 6, that is COP is important and you can use only one capacity, that is of chartered accountant. Then we have seen sections. Now we are seeing very interesting. Section 7. It talks about 3 things. Extremely important. But sir, we don't see questions here. These questions are covered later with some other topic. I will explain it with clause number 7, because when it comes to designation, section 7 is also applicable, and we are going to study one more clause. Clause 7 is also applicable. So all the questions are covered with that clause 7. That's why you don't see question numbers here. Is extremely important. It talks about 3 things. What prefix chartered accountants can use, what designation chartered accountants can use, and what other descriptions or letters chartered accountants can use. 3 extremely important things. Now let's understand. What are they. So when I write CA Ravi Towri, okay, so CA is my prefix which is fixed before the name. Chartered accountant is designation, and below that whatever I write is other description and letters. Okay. I hope this is pretty clear. There are 3 things involved. And this is definitely name. Okay. I don't need to tell that this is what you write before name is prefix. What you write below name is designation, and everything else you write after that is other description and letters. Okay. So we have section 7 and ICI clarifications regarding all these things, all these three things. So Darsh is saying, sir, why don't you write CFA? I've cleared 2 levels of my CFA. Why don't you write that under? So we'll discuss that. I cannot write CFA. We'll discuss about that also. Now, let's understand. Let's understand. So, who can write prefix chartered accountant? As soon as any person becomes member of the CA Institute, he gets membership of the CA Institute. Membership of the CA Institute, then irrespective of whether he is in practice or not, everyone can write CA in front of their name. Everyone can write it. And I know that that is one of the most important things and dream of your life. And that's very dear and it's very important. And that's very, it's something for which you are putting all your efforts. Okay. I have lived, I've gone through, all of us, chartered account have gone through that phase and we got those 2 letters for ourselves. So, as soon as you become members, but that's very important. First, clear the exams, complete your articleship, apply for membership. After getting membership number, then you can write CA. Okay, that is allowed. Usage is allowed by all the chartered account within practice or not. What if a person is doctor also? I'm not talking doctor from medical side. Doctor, the person who has the person who is having a PhD, okay, PhD. He is expert in a particular topic and he applied for PhD. He got the PhD. That's then they also PhD holders. They also write Doctor Dr. So if a person is a chartered accountant also, and he is a PhD holder also, doctorate also, then what will you do? CA Institute has clarified. You can write doctor also. You can write Doctor CA or CA Doctor in any sequence or any combination. You can write that. That's absolutely fine. You can write doctor, no problem at all. So, but what is not allowed? And CA Institute has clarified this. Many students they use CA prefix even before becoming chartered accountant. Student makes social media handles, email IDs, and they write CA as a prefix before that. They use prefix as CA before that, so that is not allowed. Till the time you don't get membership, don't use prefix as chartered accountant. That's a very important prefix. It should be valued. It should be valued. You cannot just put it anywhere you want, anytime you want. It should be done only after obtaining membership. Once you obtain membership, you can write it. So the day you become chartered accountant, the day you become chartered accountant, okay? Technically, I am saying, you cannot write CA and your name, because on that day you have cleared the exam, you are yet to get the membership number. Okay, technically, but then, in heart you will definitely write CA on that day, and I will say that you should write CA. That's absolutely fine. CA Institute is not having problem with that. CA Institute is having problem. CA Institute is having problem with people who are using social media handles with CA even before getting membership. They are having problem with that, and they are correct in their approach. Now, next we are talking about designation. Next we are talking about designation. That's very interesting. What you can write just below your name. If you are CA in practice, you have to write just below your name, which describes your profession. You have to write letters, words which describe your profession just below your name. You have to write only chartered accountant. Only chartered accountant. No addition, no deletion, no substitution, no modification. Cut this particular part. We'll discuss about it later. We'll discuss about it later in other description and letters. No addition, no deletion, no substitution, no modification. You cannot write rank holder chart accountant, number one chart accountant, top chart accountant. You cannot write only chartered. You cannot write professional accountant. No addition, no deletion, no substitution, no modification. You cannot write CHACS, only CH and AC. Nowadays they're short form. I'm CHACS, chart accountant. You cannot do such nonsense things. No addition, no deletion, only chart accountant, only it is allowed. If the person is not in practice, he has option 1, option 2. He has option number 1, simply go and use chart accountant as designation. Simply go and use chartered accountant as designation. Simply use that. Okay. Option number, and then nothing else. Cannot change. Nothing else. Option number 2, don't use chart accountant as designation. Then he is free to use any other designation. Free to use any other designation as you want. Any other designation as you want, no problem at all. Okay. We have already studied that modification is not allowed. Modification is not allowed. Industrial accountant, just a minute, guys. Okay, we are back. Now, there's a very, you cannot write industrial accountant, corporate accountant, first attempt accountant, income tax consultant, cost accountant. No, no, company secretary. No, no, no. You cannot write all these things. Okay. Okay. We're back. Now, there's a very, you cannot write in the. Okay. Now, there's a very interesting case. It was asked in exams, and I think we were the only professor that time when it was asked first time. Now it is there in other books also. Now it is given code of ethics that chartered accountants chartered accountants can go to SEBI and get registrations, get registered with SEBI, CA firms. They can go to SEBI and get registered as a category 4 merchant banker. So merchant bankers are the people who help in IPOs and FPOs. So you can become merchant banker. You can become advisor to issue. Fine, you become that. That's okay. That is allowed. But then keep one thing in mind. In prospectus, your name will be written. In prospectus, your name will be written, and below your name, you can write advisor to issue. Below your name, you can write advisor to issue. But in your visiting card, in your letterhead, everywhere, designation should be chartered accountant only. So in prospectus, you can write advisor to issue. Everywhere else, it has to be only chartered accountant. Okay, only chartered accountant. Now, what was the question in exam? What they said in exam? That person became merchant banker with SEBI. In prospectus, he wrote merchant banker. In prospectus, he wrote merchant banker. Okay. And on visiting card letterhead, he wrote advisor to issue. That's incorrect. At both places, you are incorrect. On prospectus, advisor to issue was allowed, and on letterhead and visiting card, only chartered accountant was allowed. So at both the places, there was a mistake. There was a non-compliance of section 7. Now, next is very interesting. Other description. So what you write below designation, whatever you write after designation, it is called as other descriptions or letters. Now that's very interesting. Now these other descriptions or letters, if they are related to if they are related to, they indicate membership of other accountancy bodies. If they are related to membership of other accountancy bodies, whether in India or outside India, you can write it only if recognized by council. So what do you mean by that? Now listen. Let me give you example. CA Institute is an accountancy body. its members can give accountancy services. Then we have accountancy and related services. Then we have CPA. It also gives accountancy services. We have CMA. It gives not exactly accounting, but accounting related services. We have CFA, which also gives accountancy related, which is for accountancy and related services. It is covered in that. Now listen, it's very simple. So we have a chartered accountant. He is writing designation chartered accountant. If chartered accountant wants to write any description or letter which is related to other accountancy bodies, you need previous permission of council. It should be recognized by council. It should be permitted by council. It should be permitted by council. It should be approved by the government or approved by the law. It should be approved. For this regard, it should be approved. Now, CA Institute has allowed that cost and management accountant is a accountancy body, and we are allowing to write CMA, ACMA or FCMA after his name, after designation. You can write CMA, ACMA, FCMA to indicate that you are member of the cost institute also. You cannot write cost accountant. You can write CMA. It is allowed. It is allowed. So, on the same lines, if CA Institute is having MOU or MRA, Memorandum of Understanding or mutual recognition agreement with foreign institutes, and CA is having its membership or qualification, then again he can indicate that membership or qualification in other descriptions and letters. That is allowed. See, so they have clarified with respect to CMA, you can write only CMA, not cost accountant. Fine. With respect to foreign institute, you can indicate membership of only those institute with whom you have MOU and MRA. Fine. If there is a dual COP, like we have studied with advocates, you can have dual COP. CA Institute has allowed. They have not allowed. But then we have studied both designations should not come together. Either write only advocate or write only chartered accountant. You cannot write both together. Fine. So you cannot write together. You have to write separately. If dual COP is allowed in practical life with company secretary or cost accountants or lawyers, don't write it together, write it separately. Now this point I will call that this is of designation. This can be covered. This point can be covered here also. That is, it is better to cover it there. Okay. As a last point there, we can cover it there. That's not going to change anything. That's fine. Now, CPA Institute has not allowed members to write membership of CPA. Writing CPA is not allowed. CPA is accountancy body and CA Institute has not allowed writing CPA. See, when it comes to accountancy bodies, you can write any membership or qualification from them only if it is permitted by the council. Only if it is permitted by the council. It is not permitted by the council. CPA is not yet permitted. So chartered accountants cannot write CPA. If you find anyone writing CPA, that is incorrect. You cannot write CFA. I am level 2, I have cleared 2 levels of CFA, never appeared for level 3. I cannot write CFA. Not allowed. I cannot write in other description, I am director of so and so company. Not allowed. I am member of political party. Not allowed. I am a Rotarian. I am a Lion member. I am member of Rotary Club, Lions Club. Not allowed. Some chartered accountant cell. Not allowed. No, you cannot write all those things. You are director of so and so company. Not allowed. For practicing chartered accountants, you cannot write you're director of so and so company, you are member of political party, you are part of a CA cell of BJP, Congress, TMC, Aam Aadmi. You cannot write that. You cannot write you are member of so and so clubs. Not allowed, or other organization. But when it comes to other than accountancy bodies, you can write, no problem at all. If any qualification or membership, if any qualification of membership other than accountancy body, then it is absolutely fine. Like you are member of, you are LLB, that is other than accountancy, you can write LLB, no problem. BCom, it is not accountancy, it is not accountancy body, it is not from accountancy body, you can write it. MBA, it is not from accountancy body, you can write it, no problem at all. If any person has become insolvency professional, he can write insolvency professional. It is not accountancy body, absolutely fine. If any person is a registered valuer, he can write registered valuer, absolutely fine. It is not accountancy body. Yes, writing CPA and CFA is applicable to both, whether in practice or not. Applicable to both. Designation of CA firm. A CA firm can write designation chartered accountants if all partners of which are members of the institute and are in practice. You can put chartered accountants if all the members are CAs. They have not yet clarified what they will write for multidisciplinary firm. We'll discuss that later. There's a concept of multidisciplinary firm. Okay, not applicable. We'll discuss that later. So guys, it's very simple. It's very simple, straightforward. Regarding prefix, all the chartered accountants can use it. Whether you are in practice or not, it doesn't matter. Okay, but first become member. When it comes to designation, there are two options. There are chartered accountants in practice, chartered accountant not in practice. So there are two categories. When we talk about other descriptions or letters, if it is related to if related to accountancy body, other accountancy bodies, prior permission is required. Permission is there for CMA, permission is there for MOUs and MRAs, and where dual COP is allowed. Permission is not there for CPA, permission is not there for CFA, permission is not there to write about the directorships and political parties and clubs. It is not there. Other than accountancy body, you can write. You can write LLB, BCom, MBA, absolutely fine. You can write insolvency professional, absolutely fine. They are other than accountancy bodies. Registered valuer, absolutely fine. Now, let's see the last thing for the day and then we will stop here. That is section 8. Okay. Section 8 is covered in module. Section 8 is covered in module. Who cannot become member of ICI? Disqualification. Who cannot become member of ICI? The person who has not attained the age of 21. Not attained the age of 21. Not attained the age of 21. Then you cannot become member of ICI. So, very young person, 12 years old, 13 years old, he cannot become member of ICI. So, the person who has not grown up cannot become grown up, but then court says that he has unsound mind. See, it's in a sequence again. Not grown up, you cannot become member of ICI. Grown up, but unsound mind cannot become member of ICI. Okay. You are insolvent, undischarged insolvent. I am not going into, what do you mean by discharge or undischarged. You study this in law. You study this in law. Okay, so if any person has become insolvent, he is disqualified. Insolvent is a person who is not able to pay off his liabilities. His assets, he is not able to pay off his liabilities. Able to pay off his liabilities, that person will be considered as insolvent. Okay. Now, he can go to the court and prove that, that this insolvency happened because of some reasons beyond his control. He should not be held responsible. So in that case, court is going to discharge his case. Okay, if you go to the court, get the court order, that means you are discharged. But in discharge, you will need certificate stating misfortune, that insolvency happened not because of you, but because of misfortune. Because of misfortune, correct? If that is the case, then such person can become CA. If you become insolvent, disqualified. Case is pending in the court, disqualified. Discharge, case is final order in the case is given, but you did not get that certificate of misfortune, again disqualified. Then next is last thing, if a chartered account is convicted by court in India or outside India for moral turpitude, that means something extremely bad, smuggling, terrorism, murder, something like that. Moral turpitude, and the punishment is transportation. Transportation, that means you are going to stay away from the area. Sometimes this happens. You should not enter Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu or Karnataka. You cannot enter this particular area. That's called transportation. Or imprisonment. You are punished by imprisonment. Okay. You are sent to jail. Then moral turpitude, as a punishment, there is a transportation or imprisonment, and it is not of technical nature. It is not that you forgot to fill up a form, or it should not be of technical nature. That there is only problem of not following a procedure. Then if person has done such a big thing, again he will get disqualified. So person who has not grown up, disqualified. Grown up but court says that unsound mind, disqualified. Undischarged insolvent, disqualified. Discharged but not having the certificate, again disqualified. Moral turpitude and punished, disqualified. If he is granted pardon, Granted pardon, that means granted pardon, that means uh, president or the other person who did the complaint, they have granted pardon. Okay, we are giving you pardon. That means we are saying that it's okay, you should not be punished. We don't want you to get punished and serve the imprisonment. If he got the pardon, he will get qualified. If central government says that you are very important person, you have done a lot for the country, we are removing your disability, again he will get qualified. Again he will get qualified. There are exceptions. If he gets pardon, he will get qualified. Central government helps, he will get qualified. Now, if a CA gets disqualified, he himself has to tell institute that listen, now I am disqualified, remove my name from membership. So it is responsibility of CA to inform. If he doesn't do it, it will be considered as professional misconduct. So once you clear exams, complete your articleship, you have to fill up form number 2. You have to fill up form number 2 is for membership. And first line of form number 2 is, I beg to apply that my name is to be entered in the register. I hereby declare that I am not subject to any of the disabilities stated in section 8 of Chartered Account Act 1949. What I want to say that in first line you write that I am not disqualified as per section 8. I beg to apply, that's a very old English. Beg to apply means showing respect. Showing respect to the institute, nothing else. Okay. So guys, we'll stop here. Tomorrow we'll start at again 7 o'clock and we'll see remaining sections, and maybe we'll start with the first schedule. We'll start with the first schedule. We will see few clauses. I will put audio revision. I will put audio revision on Audit Guru Telegram channel. Okay. Bye bye everyone. You can do question answers. Do question answers. If you do question answers, that will be your homework. From Param Question Bank, and MCQ book, you can cover the question answers.